Hi guys, I recently went through an experience that happened to me last week and I really want to share it with you. So let's get into it. I had a hair appointment last Thursday. I had the kids with me, and prior to that Wednesday evening, I was really sad. I just couldn't sleep. I was thinking about a lot of things, and especially when I get sad and something's going on in my life, I think about my parents. I think about the life that they had. It was a very hard life, and kind of wish I was more, I would have done more while they were alive. And just so many things that I've been going through, and I just was praying and crying out to God that night. So all Thursday, I was really sad, and after we left, I got the kids in the car and I was supposed to make a turn, but of course GPS rerouted me. I decided just to follow GPS and see where it would take me. Well, it ended up taking me into like the freeways and the underpasses. So I really didn't know where I was going. If you don't know, I just relocated to a new state, and I'm really not familiar with all the new roads here, especially downtown. So I was going to turn left, but I saw that it was a wrong turn. So I freaked out and I immediately pulled to my right to get back onto the regular lane that I was already in. Well, as I was doing so, I ended up hitting a car next to me. I was going slow, and this wasn't a hit where I dented her car, because it wasn't like a huge impact. So I pretty much just scratched her car. But I was thinking, great, like this is the last thing I needed, moving to a new state and moving to Florida. So I was just so worried that something big was going to spiral out of this. So I get down, and the other lady of the vehicle gets down, and I asked her, "Are you okay?" And to my surprise, this lady was super sweet. I knew I wanted to get out of there as soon as I could, because I had the kids with me in the car, and I didn't want traffic to slam into us and then my kids are in the car, even though we had moving over to a lane that had lines, yellow lines there. So we were out of traffic's way, but still, you always hear these horror stories when you're on the side of the road and somebody rams into you from behind. So pretty much I'm just telling the lady, I'm so sorry. I didn't know where I was going. I have my insurance card. You can have my phone number. She puts my phone number in her phone. I give her my insurance card, and to my surprise, she's a really sweet lady. Usually you expect, after you get into a fender bender or an accident, people are mad. But she was actually just really sweet and really calm. And as I was going to put my insurance card back, I put it back, and then I came back to her to talk to her again. She asked me, "Can I pray for you?" And I was blown away. I couldn't believe that she was asking me that, especially at the time that I needed it, because I was feeling so down that night and that whole day. And I just almost looked at her in disbelief, like, who are you? Like, she just seems so angelic. I remember looking into her eyes, and they were like this lightest blue, clear blue eyes. Just had this gentle spirit about her. And I started crying, and I asked her, "How did you know? How did you know?" And she just had like, it just looked like the love of God, truly, like completely on her face. And I remember as she asked me that, and I asked her, "How did you know?" Like, I felt like if I was a little bit dizzy or the ground was moving, kind of like if I was floating. And I remember there was cars behind her, and you know how the sun, like, when it hits the cars, it reflects, and it's just like so shiny. Well, that's what I saw behind her. It was just this glow around her that was so angelic. And I just couldn't believe what I was experiencing. She goes on to say, God wants you to know that he sees you. And of course, I lost it. I was in tears, completely in tears. And she asked me if she could give me a hug. And I said yes. So she ends up hugging me. And I kid you not, I literally feel like God's embrace, God's love over me. I feel like I'm literally hugging Jesus. Like that's exactly how I felt in that moment. And words cannot describe what I felt. It's almost like if God came down in human form just to give me that hug. She goes on to tell me, I can tell you're a person who cares a lot about people. So of course I lost it even more. I started crying even more. And she asked if she can pray for me. And I forgot to mention that when we were hugging, I was also thinking about my kids. They're in the car. I don't want anybody to hit my car, and then my kids are in there. So when I was hugging her, because it was a long hug, I felt this peace come over me and tell me, your kids are going to be okay. I'm going to take care of them. Your kids are going to be okay. So I just kind of let go of that anxiety, and I just was in the moment of that hug and that embrace that I felt, that it was God, like God's presence. So then she begins to pray for me, and after that, after she ends her prayer, she asked me if I had a Bible at home, and she ends up giving me a Bible. She asked if my kids have Bibles, and I told her that they just have the picture Bibles right now, and she ends up giving me 2 more Bibles for the kids, which is right here. And it was just something so beautiful and so unexpected. And as the cars were passing by, there was people stopping. Charlotte, I see you. The cars were passing by and they were checking on us. There was a tow truck that stopped and asked if we needed anything. So it was truly something so beautiful to see that there was like people stopping by, like the humanity in people was so precious to see. And so everything was ministered to my heart, and it was just such a blessing. And I could not believe something like that happened to me. I felt chills, and I'm like, this is something that you only read in books or see other people experience, but you never think something like that would happen to you. And I'm here to remind you guys that God is real. God knows what you're going through. He sees you. If you think that you're alone, you're not. It says in his word that he will never leave us. He will never forsake us. So whatever it is that you're going through, God is able. God has your back. And I just pray that this story ministers to your heart and blesses you.